Hi everyone, Katie here. Welcome back to another layout video. Today I'm working with our quiet New Year's Eve photos. It was just me, my husband, and my puppy that rang in the new year together. Definitely different than most years, but that's where we are right now. So I have this pink striped paper from the Hey Hello collection. And then the rest of what I use is actually straight out of my scrapbox, which feels good to actually use some of those things. I'm distressing the edge of this black and white Echo Park paper. I wanted there to be a good pop of black on the layout, so it is my base for my layering. Again, this is another paper I've had for a while. It is in the scrap box, and I wanted to rough up the edges, but not just distress them in the same way that I did the black paper. So I decided to just tear the edges to get, the torn edge effect that we do so often in scrapbooking. And I layer another torn edge paper below just to build my layers up a little bit. I do have that branding strip. It's got little flowers on it. That came off of that pink paper, the background paper as well. And I wanted to try to work it in. So on the edges, I thought they were just a little bit of red from my photos onto this as well. So I take my fired brick distress oxide and just kind of blend on a little bit of ink to those ruffled edges. It is pretty subtle. It's not something, that's really making a red pop or anything like that, but I just wanted it to be subtle. I don't do it to the polka dot paper. Again, I just wanted it to be a subtle little extra color on the layout. So I like how I'm arranging my photos so far. I know I want them to go together. They're in the middle of the paper layers, and I knew I wanted the little branding strip to make it on somehow. I wasn't quite sold with overlapping my photos too much because I felt like if I overlapped them too much, then I would either be cutting off my pup or my husband or, something that I wanted to see in the photo. I do try to work that little white and red heart foil page on. Again, it's just a little scrap that I had in my scrap box, but I am trying to use that up. So as I'm adhering these layers, I want the largest layer to be closest to the top so that you can see more of this pink polka dot paper. Again, just creating more layers. I do finally decide, this branding strip is going on, no matter what, I'm making it go on. So I put it right there at the top, knowing that I won't be able to see all of it, but, that's okay. It works out. So I wanted to kind of create a little bit of a diagonal in embellishment. So I take my Color Shine, my Heidi Swap Color Shine, and just spray a little bit up in the top left and down in the bottom right. I'm going to put my photos over top, and that will create kind of that diagonal that I was hoping for. Back there at the beginning, you saw I used my white pen to kind of draw a little bit of where I wanted to put my color. That helped me. It didn't, mess up my paper or anything. It just kind of said, hey, spritz color here. So that was a helpful technique that I used, and of course it's white pen. You probably weren't going to see it much on this paper, even without the Color Shine on it. So I'm getting my photos down. I did trim just a little bit off so that I could see a little bit more of the layers below. And again, I really want this red foiled hearts page to layer in there somehow, but I haven't quite figured out exactly how. Now I'm putting down the entire layering piece, and I'm using double-sided tape to do that because I thought that would adhere nicely over the little bit of mixed media that I had, and then that way I knew it wasn't going anywhere. So I am trying to make like a little shelf out of this foiled paper, and ultimately I decide, I might not see all of it. I might not see quite as much as I wanted, but I am going to make it work on there. And that's exactly what I do. And I do end up covering up quite a bit of those little flowers on that little branding strip. Now I am sort of inking the edges, but it's incredibly subtle because I'm using the same brush that I did the first time, but I'm not adding any ink to it. Just enough to take off the like super white edge of it. And again, using that double-sided tape, it was out, it was easy, and when I use it, I know nothing is going to move, which is great. So now it kind of overlaps that very first layer that I put down, but I really do like the effect that it gave, kind of the multi-layer torn edges stacked on top of each other. I just liked how it turned out. So that is what I use. Again, I'm still stuck on this double-sided tape. I really like using it. It's super easy to use, and as I've said, things just, they don't go anywhere. They stay exactly where you want them to when you use it. So I'm putting my photos one right next to the other. I decided not to overlap them at all because I didn't want to lose any part of my picture. And I bring a little bit of that pink polka dot paper up to the top. Now I don't tear the edges of this because I do want it to act sort of like a little shelf or a resting place for my title once I get that going. And I thought about adding a few more layers, a few more scraps, but I just kind of liked it as it was. And I didn't want to just add more just to, use up more scraps. I wanted it to, look the way that I wanted it to. So I decided to grab this little sequin mix that I have. It's from Joann's. It's gold stars and silver moons, and I've used a lot of the stars. I have not used many of the moons yet. And I only used 2 on this whole layout. I used mostly stars and just a couple moons to kind of exaggerate that diagonal line that I was going for. And I used this, it's a gem picking tool. I just got it on Amazon. I use that. It holds the sequins really well. It's very easy to use. And then I have a very fine tip bottle of glue that I just put a little dot and then plop the sequin right on top, and it works so well. So now that I have the layout the way I wanted it, I'm starting to think about the title. And originally I was thinking, New Year's Eve, but that was a little bit, boring. Not exactly what I wanted it to be. But I do have these stickers. They're just word stickers from a project pad I had a while ago. And I decide that I'm going to use the word welcome. And then I have sparkly pink thickers. And I'll write out the year. So it says Welcome 2021. And I thought that was appropriate because I think now more than ever we have been so excited for a new year, for a clean start. So I thought that was super appropriate for this year. Also, I think this layout will end up in my 2021 scrapbook, when usually I'd put New Year's Eve in the year before. But I am excited to start the 2021 album, and the 2020 album is very full. So it's a win-win situation with that. And I try to lay out my thickers in a pretty, light pressure way so that I can adjust them, move them around. These are like chipboard, sparkly chipboard, so they're really easy to do that. And then I use that branding strip kind of as a guide. So I really don't end up seeing nearly as much of that as I thought I would in the beginning, but I am okay with that. Now, to finish off my layout, I am going to do some journaling and some splatters. So before I start my journaling, I put some just trash that I pulled out of my scrapping trash can over my photos so that I can splatter around my Delusions ink. It is not shiny. So it just adds a little bit of splatter and kind of contrasts with the shimmeriness of the color shine. Now, I write my journaling just on the lines here. I just write a little bit about how we stayed home this year and didn't have a lot of excitement, but we enjoyed our company and spending time together as a little family. So here I am about to finish up my few lines of journaling, and that will complete my layout. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.